All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. You all saw my email that we have some changes. Mary Jo and Steve are here in the meeting today. So Steve is my direct supervisor, and I don't remember what your title is now, Steve.
Director of Content Operations.
Okay, Content Operations. And then Mary Jo is the Vice President of Content Operations also. Is that what it is?
Chief Content Officer, but I kind of feel like those are basically the same things.
Okay, well.
I never changed my Facebook profile from that, Alicia, so.
Oh, well, if you didn't update Facebook, it didn't happen. So,
yeah, so
okay.
It's kind of right.
All right. Well, I'm very excited for what moving to Mary Jo and Steve's division does for us. It aligns us more closely with the editors and the people who are creating the content. It just kind of makes sense that then, they create the content and then the pod, takes care of the budgets. And then we as designers put it on the page, that we just now have really the entire content workflow for print and e-editions under the same umbrella. Yeah, I'm excited for the opportunities for that, and that also I think it's going to allow us to make some quicker decisions and make some improvements faster, because before I had to talk to Jason, and then Jason had to talk to Aaron, who had to talk to Mary Jo, who had to talk to Steve and Kirsten, and then Mary Jo had to go back to Aaron, who had to go back to Jason, who had to come back, we're just cutting several layers out in the game of telephone that we've been playing. So I think this is going to be great, and I'm excited for it. Steve and Mary Jo, did either of you have something you wanted to say before I start going through some of the details of our immediate changes?
Well, once you put it like that and describe that little flow chart of activity, it's sort of, that paints the picture of why this is a good move. I just want to take a second, if you don't mind, Alicia, and maybe Steve too, just to let you all know who we are other than our titles, because I'm looking around at names and faces, and definitely I've worked with some of you over the years, but there's a lot of new people since I think that probably either Steve or I were involved with this team. So I am the Chief Content Officer, but really what matters is that I've been with Forum Communications for 20 years and a variety of different roles, from reporting to editing. And I am very interested in the sort of collaboration of what we can all do. I'm a big fan of making and creating things that are both efficient but also super effective and good. And so in the content division, we talk a lot about and are really, really dedicated to this idea of targeting our content to targeted audiences. And so I think you all fit into that so well. Also, we talk about that. You might hear that talked about more in a digital sense, but it's true for print. It's true for e-editions. We have all of this content, and we have audiences in all of these areas. And our puzzle, or what we can all do, is to really make sure that the right things are getting to the right people, the right time, the right places. And that's the fun of this. So I'm excited to have all of you here. And like Alicia said, the goal here is hopefully we can make this just work better, a little bit more collaborative, and make changes and implement those changes a little bit faster, and maybe with a little less pain. So, and Steve, go for it.
Hello, everyone. I know some of you I haven't had the pleasure to meet, but Mary Jo and I have worked together as a team for on and off, mostly on, for those 20 years. And just a little bit of background for those who don't know much about me. I've worked in a variety of roles, including a city desk editor in Fargo. I was the editor in Bemidji. I was the editor in Grand Forks. So, I do have a production background. I worked very closely with all those teams that put together local newspapers. And then I came over to FNS, where I was the director of FNS, and that's how I know several of you. But kind of in the same vein as Mary Jo, I really do appreciate collaboration and brainstorming and coming up with ideas. I am very much focused on efficiency and workflow. Um, it's not the most fun thing to work on, but it does make the work a lot more fun when you have that in place. So looking forward to learning a lot, and also helping problem solve and maybe be able to create some of those efficiencies and look at things in a new way, or from a different perspective. As of late, I've worked a lot on the editorial side in relations to launching Bright Spot, helping Rochester come into the company. I did a lot of work with that, and helping build some of those, not just relationships, but workflows. And so I have a lot of different, and I work with a lot of different teams. So hopefully we can, make everyone's job a little bit more easy, so we can all sort of focus on doing the same things, that we have a lot of common ground, which is really delivering content in the right way at the right time, and in the right product, because each of these products are a little bit different. So looking forward to it. And I'm excited to also work with people who are really talented. There are a lot of really talented people on this group, and strong leaders. So looking forward to it.
All right, awesome. Like I said, we're hoping to make some of these changes faster. So we've already got some stuff greenlit I can tell you about. The first one is, we talked a little bit about this, but consolidating the national sports for e-editions. I sent an email out to editors today, letting them know the detail of this. It's going to start October 2nd. So as of October 2nd, for an e-edition, editors should only have their local content in there. And we will also provide the national briefs that they can kind of use as filler. So we are expecting that will be then fewer pages for essentially every pub that does an e-edition. And then we will have up to 4 shared sports pages. So the Twins will be on one page. So instead of, 9 people putting the Twins in every one of our daily, I'm sure some of you have placed 3 Twin stories in one day because you got 3 sports section you're doing. And then, it's just a waste of our time, and we can still get that content to our readers without having to do that. So that's what we're going to do going forward. Twins, Vikings, golf, tennis, whatever is going to be on shared pages. This is for e-editions only. And then we'll get those pages inserted into the sports section of the properties. And then their sports sections for editions will be much smaller because it will only have their local stuff. So starting October 2nd, those of you who are on the pod, keep an eye out and make sure that the editors are making that change. If you see that they're trying to put national content, again, this is only for e-editions, let me or Matt know, whichever one of us is on duty, so we can address it right away with that editor. Designers, if you see national content, just talk to your pod person. That's starting October 2nd. Does anybody have questions on that part of it? Yeah, Emma.
In terms of the amount of content that they have, well, obviously determine how many pages they have for their local content, but obviously once they run out, are we just plugging that space, or how are we handling those situations? Yeah.
So that's, we've got the national briefs to hopefully help with some of that. But other than that, yeah, we will just plug that space. I've been talking with Amy Fredrickson about plug ads, and so I'm going to ask for some sports specific plug ads that we can use for that, that, look fancy and stuff like that. So it's better than, having a Homes HQ or whatever. So we're working on that, but yeah, we would just plug the space.
And one added thing, I talked to Rick Lovers today with Duluth being different in terms of their Wisconsin coverage. I'll probably do up a Wisconsin page for them as well. And, we'll have to work out the particulars because that will only be inserted then into the DNT e-edition. But I'm kind of, I'm undertaking like how much work that's going to be. I don't think it should be too bad with the team I won't mention by name, and then also the Brewers and, you know, Badgers and Bucks and all that. So.
All right, Lily?
I was going to ask, would you be interested in putting like the Rochester page available for the Post Bulletin? We're like 40 minutes away from Wisconsin, and I know that there's tons of Cheesehead fans, including me, who would love our news. So I'm wondering if that would be an audience that you might consider talking to them about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I will, Matt and I will figure out kind of the details of that Wisconsin page, and then I'll reach out to Jeff. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, any other questions right now on that sports change? Okay, as always, if you think of something later, you all know where to find me. I'm available. The next change is the Nation Plus pages are going to be consolidated considerably. When those were set up, we kind of based them on, some of it was based on content that was available and not necessarily content that was compelling for readers. So we are working on finalizing the plan for exactly which pages are going to be cut. But we expect that that will start soon as well. So then we'll have fewer of those pages, fewer e-edition local sports pages, and that will allow us to shift our focus, as we've been talking about, that we really, really need to be on top of advanced pages. You know, we need pod linking those up. You know, as soon as the content is there from the local sites, if the local sites are missing their content deadlines, we've got to address that with them right away. So we're not having any issues with that. So we're hoping, you know, making these changes, and then late at night, those of you who work the night shift will be able to do more advanced pages because the stuff will be there, and you won't be making all these other pages and putting the Twins on yet another sports page. And then, you know, that'll set the morning crew up better, which will allow the morning crew to do, or the dayside crew, I guess, to do more of some of those afternoon pages, and just, you know, in general, allow us to even out the workflow a little bit, give everybody some breathing room. I expect that everybody's pages per hour count is going to drop a little bit. As many of you have told me, and as, you know, I can observe, the amount of pages that you all have had to do recently has not always been sustainable. And so this is trying to adjust that, adjusting, you know, how much you have to do that's really close to deadline and some things like that. So we are working on all of those things, and I'm very excited to have movement on those now, because I know that you all have had a heck of a summer. Fall officially starts tomorrow, so let's just fall into much better balance of things. Another thing, just to let you know that we're discussing it, is Steve sent an email to several of our editors to talk about the lottery and lottery remakes. As you all know, on print nights, we remake several pages for multiple pubs to get lottery numbers in there. So Steve is looking into if we can just replace lottery numbers in the editions with a link to, like, here's a page on the website that has the lottery numbers, you know, rather than us having to pull those in all the time and then resend pages later just for lottery. So we're working on that. Another note on the lottery is that for now, while we're still doing the lottery, I did add on the pod coverage doc who's responsible for lottery each night, because we've been having troubles getting it done recently, just because nobody quite realizes that they're the one who signed up for it, or nobody, you know, just nobody thinks of it. So I just put it on there so that way we can make sure that somebody's got it. Any questions on any of that? Okay. I love how many of you turned your video on today so that I can actually see your faces. So I can see you like, nod, or give me the thumbs up when things are okay. Makes me happy. I miss all of you. It's very quiet in here. Just a couple of other notes. The modulus content, I sent an email about it yesterday. We've missed an unacceptable number of modulus items lately. So I went through every budget template for every single one of our properties and added everything that they have for modulus content each day onto the budget template. So pod members, when you are setting that up, you will always have that there ready to fill out. There should never be X's on the page, or on the budget rather, when you're done with it. You should always be copying, even if it's 0, then just copy over where it says like BPEJ milestones 0, and copy that onto the page so that the designer knows that you checked. And designers, remember that you are responsible for also double checking that document, just so that we're absolutely sure that the numbers are correct. And then again, pasting that information onto the side of the page so that then the proofer can triple check everything. Again, that's, it's paid content. So for one thing, you guys know how much I love money. But also that's just the content that it's really, really important to our readers and our communities. If we have a typo in a story, or we accidentally run the same story twice in 1 week, yeah, there are going to be readers who are upset about that. But in 5 years, they're not going to be thinking about it. But if we didn't run somebody's dad's obituary, or we didn't run, the announcement for, my grandpa and grandma's 60th wedding anniversary party, so people didn't come, they will not forget that. That's how we lose readers in our community, is by making those kinds of errors. So we just can't. It's too important. So make sure that you're doing all the steps that are your responsibility in that, so that we have all of our checks built in to that system. The Jamestown community page has also been kind of an issue lately, that we keep having, like one thing missed. And I know that that's just kind of a difficult page, because it's like, here's 35 tiny things, just like Tetris them until you can make it work. So what we're going to ask you to do going forward is, if you have that community page, just copy the budget and put it on the pasteboard on the side. And then whoever proofs those pages, please check it against that budget and make sure that everything that's on there that said must run runs, and that, if it says it has a mug, that the mug is in there, all that kind of stuff. I just want to point out, in case anybody didn't notice, that Mary Jo has a cat right now.
You guys, this cat has never comes up here during meetings. Like, I'm on meetings constantly, and I can think of only one other time ever. So something about this group, I don't know. Are you cat people? And he knows. I am not sure. So sorry about the distraction here.
Oh, we love when cats come to meetings. The
Okay.
only thing that's cuter is when Matt Corey has like a grandchild running around behind him. I always enjoy that if one of them comes over. And then the other thing that we want to adjust is, we have been having some problems lately with photos. The sites are in many cases doing a better job of getting us more photos, but also sometimes that means that they're getting us like 30 photos, and then they're like, make number 16 the lead, and it just gets kind of confusing. So what I want to ask is that going forward, pod members, if there's a specific photo that the site has requested for the main photo, or that they haven't requested, but you looking through the photos feel this one should be the lead photo, just highlight that in the Google Doc, select it and make it yellow. That way it makes it easy for the designer to see exactly which one it is, especially if it's not the top one, which in a lot of cases lately it's not. If there's, a bunch of photos, and it's not a photo page, so we're not going to be able to get them in, go ahead and delete the ones that are not as good, so that it's easier for the designer to narrow things down. And then if there's web only photos in there, most of you already do that, but just delete those out of there too. It's just going to make things easier at the transition to the designer, easier for the designer to grab the photos that they need and get them on the page without any issues on that. And then the last thing I had on my list is just a couple of editors lately have put some design notes on their budget lines for things that are against our style. So just remember, if they want mugs on their opinion page for something that should have call sigs, it's going to be a call sig, our style. So on top of that, Al and Alexandria keeps trying to slip in that note about making the taglines italic. We're not making the taglines italic. And as we move forward in the next several months to the different things that we're working on to make things easier, some of that's going to include more standardization, or setting up like, okay, this opinion column is going to run in 4 papers, so it's going to be, we're making it a PDF this size, you can drop into the other ones. And so as we're doing that, it's important that our style is consistent as we're doing that. So that's the reason that I'm being a nitpicker on those things right now, is just to keep it simple as we move forward. Anybody have any other questions on anything? Anything in general? Yeah, there.
I just have an idea. I think modulus should be on Slack. Wouldn't that be easier than having to email them if we ever have issues,
That is not a bad idea at all.
Okay. Just a random idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then,
I will talk to the Nicoles and ask what the feasibility of that is, because that would, if they pay attention to Slack properly, then that would be, a lot easier, I think.
Okay, cool.
Good call. Anybody else? All right. So again, I'm excited for the changes. We will keep you updated as more changes come along. I sent Steve and Mary Jo my notes on the changes I think we should already make. I did manage to keep it to only 4 pages. Lucky them, because you guys know who I am. If you have any thoughts or stuff that you want to discuss with me related to the changes that we're making, changes you think we should make, questions, concerns, anything, I'm available anytime. You all know I don't sleep, so just let me know what you need and we'll talk about it. All right, Matt, do we need to have pod hangout for huddle? Nope, we're good. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day.